When most people hear OCD, they imagine someone who likes a tidy desk or hates a crooked picture. That shorthand misses the reality. Obsessive-compulsive disorder is a serious mental health condition that can quietly dominate daily life, choices, and relationships. In this video, I'll explain what OCD really is, how it works in the brain, why it is not just neatness, and how it can be treated with care, clarity, and respect. What OCD is, OCD stands for obsessive-compulsive disorder. Its core features are obsessions and compulsions. Obsessions are repeated intrusive thoughts, images, or urges that feel unwanted and often disturbing. They create intense anxiety, guilt, or disgust. Compulsions are repetitive behaviors or mental acts done to neutralize that anxiety. They sometimes give short-term relief, and in providing relief, they keep the disorder cycling. Importantly, many people with OCD recognize that their thoughts or rituals are excessive or irrational, yet feel driven to perform them because the anxiety is overwhelming. Common themes with examples. OCD appears in many themes. Contamination and cleaning. A thought like, what if this doorknob is full of deadly germs, can lead to excessive hand washing, showering, or avoidance. Checking in doubt. A thought such as, what if I left the stove on and burned the house down, can result in repeated checking of locks or switches for hours. Symmetry, order, and just right feelings. A persistent sense that something feels off unless items are perfectly aligned can lead to arranging, repeating, or counting until it feels exact. Harm and responsibility themes involve fears like, what if I lose control and hurt someone I love? And lead to mental reviewing, avoidance, or constant reassurance seeking. These thoughts are ego-dystonic. They shock the person because they oppose their values. Taboo or unacceptable thoughts revolve around religion, sexuality, or blasphemy, and compulsions may be silent, precise prayers, mental neutralizing, or endless self-questioning. Mental compulsions and reassurance seeking remind us that not all rituals are visible. Repeating phrases in the head, reviewing events, or repeatedly asking others, "Are you sure it's okay?" can be as consuming as visible acts. Across these themes, the pattern stays the same. An intrusive thought sparks intense anxiety, a ritual follows to relieve it briefly, and the cycle grows stronger each time. The OCD cycle. Think of OCD as a loop. A trigger, a situation, object, or random thought sparks an obsession. What if I contaminated my family? Or what if I'm actually dangerous? Everyone experiences odd, intrusive thoughts sometimes, but in OCD, the mind assigns them excessive importance. Anxiety and discomfort build, heart rate rises, muscles tense, dread or guilt appears. The person feels compelled to act. A compulsion follows. Washing, checking, repeating, praying, counting, or mentally reviewing. Anxiety drops temporarily. That relief reinforces the behavior. The brain learns that ritual reduces danger. Next time, the urge to perform the compulsion is stronger. Over time, this loop can take hours a day. Diagnostic criteria often note obsessions or compulsions that consume more than an hour daily and interfere with work, school, or relationships. How common is OCD? OCD is not rare. Research suggests roughly 1–3% of people experience OCD at some point in life. It often begins in late childhood, adolescence, or early adulthood. Without treatment, it can persist long-term. OCD affects all genders, cultures, and backgrounds. You cannot tell by looking at someone if they have it. What's happening in the brain? OCD links to changes in certain brain circuits, especially the cortico-striato-thalamocortical circuit, or CSTC loop. Key regions include the orbitofrontal cortex, which evaluates potential threats and consequences, the anterior cingulate cortex, which detects errors and conflict, the striatum and basal ganglia, which manage habits and repetition, and the thalamus, a relay station. In OCD, this loop can get stuck, like a warning system that keeps sounding even when there's no real danger. Neurochemicals, especially serotonin and glutamate, help regulate this loop, which is why medications affecting serotonin can reduce symptoms for some people. The cognitive side of OCD. Modern cognitive models emphasize interpretation. Intrusive thoughts themselves are normal. Most people have them. The difference with OCD is how those thoughts are interpreted. Thought-action fusion is common, believing that thinking something is almost as bad as doing it. Inflated responsibility appears as the belief that if anything bad happens, it must be your fault because you didn't prevent it perfectly. Intolerance of uncertainty means needing 100% certainty to feel safe. Overimportance of thoughts assigns catastrophic meaning to mere mental events. These thinking patterns drive the urge to neutralize thoughts, pushing people back into compulsions. Treatment and hope. There is effective treatment. The psychological gold standard is exposure and response prevention, ERP. Exposure means gradually, safely facing triggering situations or thoughts. Response prevention means resisting the usual compulsion, like touching a contaminated surface and not washing afterward. Over time, the brain learns that anxiety rises and falls without ritual, and certainty is not required to live fully. SSRIs and clomipramine can reduce symptom intensity and help people engage in therapy. For severe treatment-resistant cases, intensive programs or neuromodulation may be considered by specialists. If someone suspects OCD, the next step is to consult a licensed mental health professional or physician rather than self-diagnose. Closing OCD is neither a personality quirk nor a joke. It is a condition where the brain's warning and habit systems get stuck in a loop fueled by intrusive thoughts, anxiety, and rituals. But the loop can be broken. With understanding and evidence-based treatment, people can reclaim their lives. If you live with OCD or love someone who does, remember, you're not crazy, you are not alone, and help can make a real difference. End of script.